Tyson Philpott. That's what the Alouettes were looking for. And Edmonton is on the board. The Red Blacks have the lead.
Geno Lewis among the gold standards for CFL receivers throughout his career. He is just 28 yards away from 5,000 in his career. He's been a big difference maker for Edmonton since returning to the lineup. Austin Mack has had a fantastic rookie season in Montreal, close to 1,100 yards. He has gained the attention of every defense he faces and is a favorite target of Cody Fajardo. And welcome inside our CFL on TSN studios. Farhan Lalji along with Jim Barker, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stiegel. We've got a couple of entertaining games for you. Montreal in Edmonton, Ottawa in Toronto. And on the surface, when you look at this, maybe not a lot to play for as far as playoff positioning. But if you're Montreal, you want to fine-tune a lot, be sharp going into the playoffs. And if you're Edmonton, you're playing for next year, and that includes Trey Ford. He is the face of their franchise, Matt. So what does he need to get accomplished in these final couple of games?
Well, he's still learning, and I think growth is a big part of his game right now. Every snap is so instrumental for this kid to move forward, and he is a talent. And I think everybody across the country, any CFL fan, knows that this kid can light it up, and he's worth the price of admission. He's averaging 9.5 yards per carry, and he's taking care of the football. And in my opinion, he is the brightest star, young star we have in this league right now, moving forward. Worth the price of admission. Get out and go watch this kid play, whether it's tonight or whether it's next week in Winnipeg. He's worth the price of admission. I'm watching the game.
And you talk about young star, and I'm sure he wants to be paid like a star. So you say there's nothing to play for. Trey's playing for a new contract. Let's be honest. I'm sure his agent.
But he's under contract, right?
Well, he's playing for a new contract. Yeah. His agent right now is saying, okay, as long as my client continues playing well, and for me, I want to see more consistency. I've seen some great plays, but I want to see consistency if you want to get that big contract, because that's what he's playing for. That's what his agent is going to ask for when he walks into the Edmonton Elks GM office.
Well, this is a totally different kettle of fish for the Montreal Alouettes. For the Montreal Alouettes, they need to get themselves ready to win the semifinal game at home against Hamilton. They know what's going to happen. How long you play players. How much do you want to show Hamilton? They play Hamilton the last week of the season, which will be that game of all backups and show nothing. So this is a chance for their starters to actually work together, get their timing down, and do the things they have to do, because this is about one thing for Montreal: winning the Grey Cup this year.
Yeah. Hey, and listen, you talked earlier about stars and guys getting paid and people doing these things. How about Kate Burness? She nailed her marathon.
Yes.
4:44. Kate, congratulations to you.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Montreal, they have won 3 straight. They'll host the East Semi. Edmonton looking for its 3rd straight home win. We'll tell you about it when we come back.
Welcome to Edmonton for the first half of a CFL on TSN doubleheader between the Elks and Alouettes, the first and only meeting of the season between the two clubs. Despite going 4-3 in the second half, Edmonton has been eliminated from playoff contention, but still hope to finish strong. Montreal will host Hamilton in the East Semi. They've won 3 in a row down the stretch, in large part due to a vet on the defensive line.
Well, Sean Lemon registered his 100th sack against Ottawa last week. He sacked 37 different quarterbacks. The guy he sacked the most was former Edmonton Elk Michael Riley, 9 times. What we realize this week is he has not registered a sack. It's a small sample size against their current starting quarterback in Trey Ford. We'll see if Sean Lemon can get to Ford here this afternoon.
One of the storylines to follow for sure. Chris Jones, 7-5 in his career against Montreal. They have lost 2 in a row after winning 4 of 5, their best stretch of the season. On the other side, Jason Moss, for the first time as a head coach, coaching against his former club here in Edmonton. They've been streaky this year. The Alouettes streaking in a good direction right now, having won 3 in a row after dropping 4 in a row prior to that. Final home game for Edmonton this season, and we are underway on just a beautiful October Saturday at Commonwealth. This will be grabbed and brought back by Deontez Alexander, making his CFL debut. Another look at Trey Ford and start number 9.
Well, he took over August 10th against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, had a 22-point lead. The team did not win that game. They didn't finish it. He's 4-4 on the season, and Trey Ford has put on a show as the starting quarterback for Edmonton. I thought Matt Dunnigan nailed it before the game. Our Hall of Fame quarterback talking about this guy and his star power in this game. He will be the face of this franchise. They got to extend his contract. That's what he's playing for this afternoon.
Almost 600 yards on the ground and almost 70% through the air. They'll hand it off to Brown, who's been held in check recently, but a nice pickup on first down for this Edmonton starting offense.
Yeah, when you think about the wrapping up of the season for teams out of the playoffs, wanted to point out a couple of veterans. David Foucault is the veteran of the offensive line for the Edmonton Elks. He is a 6-year guy, but the oldest and most experienced on that front line. And then Manny Arsenault, 11 seasons. I'm not retiring anybody when I'm putting up these introductions, just basically saying when you get into double figures, you never know what the future may hold.
Ford quickly gets it away. Arsenault, there it is. 145 consecutive for Arsenault, passing Ben Cahoon for 4th all-time. Get it out of the way early, pick up a first down in the process.
Yeah, just sit down in the curl, get that catch registered. Again, the way he trains, I am for sure not retiring Manny Arsenault here this afternoon. He could be back for another season and would be a great contributor again next year. But he has played 11 seasons in the CFL.
Chatted with him a couple of weeks ago and kind of hinted at it, and he would have none of it. So I would assume you see Manny Arsenault somewhere next year. You'll see a lot of this guy. Ford bursting up the sideline for another Edmonton first down.
Well, this is the only game against Edmonton these two teams played this week. So although Montreal has seen Trey Ford on video, you don't know how quick he is, how fast he is, how quick he can get to the edge until you get out there on the field and he runs by your angle. 13-yard gain and a new set of downs.
Averaging 9.5 yards per carry this season is number 2 for Edmonton. He's got 4 receiving options to his wide side right. Montreal bring a little bit of pressure. Ford trying to get away. He is able to escape, trip down right before he gets to the line of scrimmage, though, and that will be a sack for the Alouettes defense.
It wasn't the Lemonator, was it? I have to check that replay, but 100 sacks for Sean Lemon. By the way, he has 2 interceptions this season as well. Maybe the nominee for outstanding defensive player will be Trice Beverett, who is having an outstanding all-star season at the in the linebacking core. And speaking of all-stars, between Katsatonis and Hamilton and Marc-Antoine Duquois, I don't know, that's going to be a tight vote.
2nd and 11. Ford, another completion for a first down as he goes back to the veteran, hauling it in. 2nd catch of the game for Arsenault.
Take a look at the pro coming back to the ball. He saw the hole. He saw that window that he had to get into. But the important part of that catch was that he took an extra step back towards the line of scrimmage. Just create a little more separation from the linebackers.
Montreal's defense has not allowed a point in the first quarter in their last 3 games. Ford with time, gives it to his running back Brown, makes one-man miss. First down, Edmonton takes it inside the 20 and down inside the 15, and the Elks marching early against the Alouettes.
I believe it was Avery Ellis that had an open field shot, but you get number 4, who's been much better when Trey Ford is the quarterback, in that the combination of the two becomes such a tough threat and a tough challenge for defenses. But that nice play in the open field by Brown here. It was Avery Ellis that missed on the tackle.
Trey Ford, 3 of 3 for 40 yards to start this drive. Now they'll get it to Kyron Moore. Moore with Arsenault blocking for him. Takes it inside the 10. Stays on his feet, pushing down towards the end zone, and he's in. What an effort by Kyron Moore. His 3rd touchdown of the season, and Edmonton strikes first.
Just a workman-like drive to start this game for Trey Ford and this Edmonton offense. A little sprinkling of Kevin Brown, getting the veteran and Manny Arsenault involved. One run from Trey Ford. Just a little bit of a look for the Edmonton fan, but what they could see next year, and just a dual threat, triple threat type of offense with great receivers, an outstanding running back, and a quarterback that can do it all.
Moore just put on the brakes before going out of bounds. Everybody else flew right by him. Faithful out for the extra point, and he knocks it through. Edmonton leads 7-0. Lots of talk about Dunbar and Geno Lewis and some of these names they brought in. Maybe the most effective, Kyron Moore. Excellent season for Edmonton. They made quick work of it. Kyron Moore finishes off a 7-play, 71-yard drive that took 3:41 off the clock.
Love the way he slammed on the brakes right at the sideline. Everybody just flew right by. Watch this. It looked like, I think, to Montreal tacklers that Moore was going to go out of bounds here, and he just puts on the brakes right there and then turns up. Guys fly right by, and he's in the end zone with, okay, a different dance, but
I don't think I could pull that one off. I had no idea you did.
We are not trying that.
I didn't know you did great brake sound effects. You learn something new every week. Letcher on the return, and our first look at Cody Fajardo today.
Well, and how long will you see him? I think that's the question. The Alouettes will host the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the East semifinal. There will be no crossover this year in the Canadian Football League playoffs. 7-7 has played his best football in the back half. You mentioned the win streak they're on, 3 straight games, and he's looked good, completing upwards of 70 to 80% of his passes.
Here's the Alouettes so far this year. 2 wins, then followed by 3 losses, followed by 4 wins, followed by 4 losses. And now they've won 3 in a row. So as streaky as they'll get. Fajardo goes down as he throws this. That was strange. It was completed on the near side to Speaker. It looked like Cody might have slipped as he let that one go.
Yeah, it does. He's just trying to gather himself here. Let's take another look. Ceresno was out there. Yeah, he just awkwardly turned there. Really didn't. Yeah, it was that left foot. The lead foot slipped.
Got a couple of yards on the completion. Looks to throw here again. He will throw. He's got another pass completed near sideline, and that to the running back, Walter Fletcher.
Walter Fletcher's playing in this one this afternoon for William Stanback, and he's used in the last game out of the backfield in the passing game. He was targeted 9 times, caught all 9. In fact, he's caught all but 1 pass thrown in his direction this season in limited action.
Spent some time here in Edmonton. Did number 25 in white today for Montreal. Back to him again, right up the middle. And Edmonton able to contain him after a short pickup on first down. Let's take a look at this Montreal starting offense this afternoon.
Yeah, big play receiver out there is Austin Mack, who's 4th in the CFL. There's the veteran Christian Matt, the starting right guard. Again, wanted to mention some of the veterans. 13 years for Matt, all with Montreal. And there's Mack, who's 4th in the CFL, and Fletcher playing for William Stanback.
Austin Mack, certainly a weapon for Anthony Calvillo. 2nd and 7 for number 7 in a quarterback here for Montreal, Fajardo. 1 once again near side. That will be completed to Tyler Sneed for his first catch of the ball game. But it will be short, and that will bring up third down after a 6-yard pickup.
And right in that bubble area as to whether you try for a long field goal here, punt it into the corner, or even go for it on third down. Interesting game for these two teams. Jason Moss wants his team to play sharp and continue to practice good habits going into the playoff run. Edmonton taking a look at some young guys, plus want to finish strong for contracts for next year.
50-yard field goal attempt for Maltos, 2 of 4 on the year. Cote is out, and that one has enough juice, sneaks it in, and Montreal is on the board. Trey Ford, how about the start for this guy? Had a carry for 12 yards, went 4 of 4 for 53 yards and a touchdown on the first possession of the game. Well, let's take a look at some more magic from Trey Ford last week against Toronto.
Yeah, this is ability and skill, and a special athlete. Those are things that he just did there that you just cannot coach. I mean, he's instinctually knowing when to turn, when to break, when to escape. He has the quickness of feet to do it. Eyes downfield, found Cobb for his first touchdown in the CFL, and there's been a bunch of those examples.
Back on the ground to Brown, and nice pickup on first down, right into the heart of that Alouettes defense.
But I agree with Matt Dunnigan, and he was talking about how he can. These are important reps for him. These are important games to keep growing and keep learning the game, learning the nuance of the game. You know, becoming a better passer from the pocket, and that's not that he can't do it, because you look at his completion percent, it's outstanding. So he's good from the pocket, but there's a lot you can continue to grow and learn with. All that stuff is coachable. What you can't coach is what you just saw.
2nd and 4, gets it away quickly. Gino Lewis against his former club. He's got a first down for Edmonton.
And he's under contract, but you've got guys like Gino Lewis to throw to next year. Kyron Moore, Dylan Mitchell. It's a good core and a great tailback. This could be a very explosive offense at the beginning of next year. Under contract for Trey Ford, but need to rip it up and start again.
You're already giving him a boost. Say, is this Trey Ford's agent in the booth over here?
Let's rip it up, give him a new one.
There's Ford. Bounces out, looks down the field. Now he's going to take off, creeping up the sideline. And that looks like another Edmonton first down. His second carry of double digits so far today.
Take a look at here, and just what I mean about his quickness on this angle. As he gets outside, go ahead and run it, guys. I'll just show you as he gets outside here, and then pause it right there. So he's going to try and hit this sideline, and there's an angle here to make the tackle that a normal quarterback that runs, you probably make it. But you see how he outruns that angle and gets the extra 4 or 5 with his quickness.
First and 10 from the Montreal 48. Of the game, 6 for 6.
So what can Trey Ford keep working on? He can keep working on his accuracy. He can keep working on, down and distance, different plays, different throws.
You can always get better at reading defenses too.
Reading defenses, going through your progressions, being patient.
They need 8 more here to keep the offense on the field. Ford on the run to his right, lobs it over. He's got Cobb down the sideline inside the 15, and eventually forced out of bounds by Deontay Evans.
But I'm with Matt, man, because I came into Commonwealth tonight and I went to the ticket booth and said, you know what, for number 2, I get a free pass to come in and call the game, but for number 2, I want to just buy a ticket. So how do I buy a ticket? Come and watch Trey go to work, because that was another play where he's left a bunch of defensive linemen on the ground and found an open receiver on the scramble.
Elks offense moving the ball very nicely here in the first quarter. Ford, far side, drops it in there just in time for Mitchell, his first catch of the ball game.
Yeah, Dylan Mitchell, interesting season for him. I mean, he came in with such high expectations of him, of his own play. Like, he set the bar so high in his rookie season, and he felt like that #2 season was going to be huge, but got off to such a slow start. He had, in his first 3 games, he had like 7 yards receiving or something like that. Come on in the back half here, but he's a keeper.
2nd and inches, Cornelius into the game. Will they push ahead, or will they pull him back and toss one to the end zone here? We've seen that before. They work from the Montreal 6. Cornelius to his right is looking to throw. Now he's going to keep it, looking to the corner. Touchdown, Edmonton! Taylor Cornelius has his 6th rushing touchdown of the season. What a start for the home team.
Well, after the tough start for Edmonton, you got to hand it to Taylor Cornelius and how he's been a great teammate since giving up that starting job to Trey Ford and having to go into that short yardage guy. He's embraced that. He's said whatever the team needs me to do or is asking me to do. He's got a good paycheck for doing it, but
he's extremely effective at it, actually.
He really is. It takes a hit away from the starter and Trey Ford, so it's a good idea. I always think the backup quarterback or a short yardage quarterback should be on the roster. Always believed in that. But he still remains a good teammate, and that's important, because that would be very tough, very difficult for Cornelius losing his job and then as the starter and then having a different role.
Faithful once again, straight down the gut. Edmonton leads by 11. Their first drive of the game went 7 plays, 71 yards. Their second drive of the game, 7 plays, 70 yards in less than 3 minutes. Finished off by a smiling Taylor Cornelius. Rushing touchdown #6 for Taylor Cornelius in his new role as the short yardage man here behind Trey Ford.
Yeah, I think Jason Moss is showing a little concern over there on the Montreal sideline, in that 2 drives won't take anything away from the Edmonton offense and how Trey Ford has led 2 touchdown drives out of the gate, but Moss wants to get his team sharp for playoff time. They've been kind of going through the motions a little bit here in this first 2 series.
Well, and they've given up 14 points here in the first quarter after not surrendering a single point in the first quarter during this 3-game winning streak. So a little bit off script for the Alouettes defense right now. Ford has started the game 8 of 8 for 99 yards and a touchdown. He also has 24 yards on the ground on a couple of carries. So an impactful first quarter for the young quarterback. This time they'll kick it deep. Backpedaling there, Philpott. Good job hauling that in at the 5. Now turns it back upfield. Breaks a couple of tackles, and he's still going, and eventually forced out of bounds. Excellent effort there from Philpott.
29-3 win for Montreal versus the Ottawa Red Blacks in their last game. Fajardo 28 of 32. That's an outstanding completion percentage. 272 yards, touchdown and an interception. Again, combination of he and Caleb Evans. Very interesting to watch in that semifinal against Hamilton.
Back-to-back wins against Ottawa, 2 of the 3 on this stretch. The other one against the Calgary Stampeders, who had a big win yesterday to keep their playoff hopes alive. Let's take a look at the Edmonton starting defense here today as Fletcher runs right into him.
AC Leonard, 11 sacks on the season, 8-year veteran up on the defensive line. Tony Jones will play for Niles Morgan for the 2nd straight game at middle linebacker, but a great season for Morgan. Wanted to mention him even though he's not in the lineup, and the veteran Ed Gainey in the secondary anchors that crew. 1 interception this year. Again, 11 seasons in the CFL. I think he's still got a lot of football in him.
Back on the ground again, turning it upfield, breaking a couple of tackles. Fletcher's got a first down for the Alouettes. on that Edmonton defense. Serezna and Leonard, both with 11 sacks on the season. There's Leonard. Missed Fletcher on that one.
Nice cutback there by Walter Fletcher. And Leonard went past him. But if you're going to miss as a defender, you want to miss so that the running back goes inside. That's where your friends are.
You should have help there.
Yeah, that's where your friends are.
First and 10 for the Montreal 41. Back to Fletcher again. And they're going to pound it on the ground here a little bit. It's working. Fletcher already at 27 yards on 4 carries.
Well, you know, I wonder about how long you leave Cody Fajardo in, and there are a couple of other players that you may want to rest. But if you're not really playing sharp, focused football, you might leave him out there longer if you're Jason Moss.
Fajardo completed all 3 passes that he's thrown so far. Back on the ground. Jeshron Answery with his first touch of the ball game. Takes it up just shy of a first down. That'll be 3rd and inches here. Well, they're going to take a closer look at it. No, they will award the first down. Got it right to the 51, which is what they needed. So it'll be a fresh set for the Alouettes.
Alouettes play against the Ticats in the final game of the regular season. Won't change anything in the playoffs, but interesting to see some younger players maybe get some reps there. Just look at the matchup and the weapons that Jason Moss has.
What are you showing in that game? What are you not showing in that game?
Don't show much.
That's an interesting one. That one quickly out of the hands of Fajardo and over the outreach hands of Austin Mack. That's the first incompletion of the ball game from either quarterback here with 2:28 remaining in the first quarter.
Austin Mack, a handful of 100-yard games this season. One of the 1,000-yard receivers with a couple of games to go.
That'd be exciting as an organization to see a rookie here out of Ohio State have as much success as he has had. Help stabilize the future. Fajardo now on the run with a fake. Makes a move, gets to midfield. That's where he goes down. Tony Jones on the tackle. First time we've seen Fajardo escape from the pocket today. But it will bring up 3rd down. And they'll be forced to kick it away. Gavin Cobb. And Ed Gainey back there to return this kick. Zimmer kicks it away. This will be taken at the 15 by Gainey. Takes it back to the 20. Great season for Sean Lemon. More on that when we return to Commonwealth. Welcome back to Edmonton. This is history right here. Sean Lemon, his 8th sack of the season, 100th of his illustrious career. For more on that moment and the career of Lemon, let's send it down to Ryan Rashad.
Well, Dusty, 100 sacks against 37 different quarterbacks through the course of his career. And what better way to honor him if you're a teammate than with a bucket filled with 100 lemons or so. Yeah, Sean Lemon serenaded with cascading lemons at practice from his teammates, and then little lemon fight after that, of course. Cody Fajardo talking about the fact that none of those sacks are against him, or Trey Ford for that matter, but for Fajardo. Played a big role in Lemon being a member of the Montreal Alouettes. And I guess if you're Cody Fajardo, you're a quarterback, it's a pretty high priority to make sure that Sean Lemon is not the guy chasing you around, but the guy in the locker room with you. So he goes where he goes.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. 2-time Grey Cup champion. One's with Calgary in 2014 and 2017 with the Argos. 16 different team changes in 3 different leagues for Sean Lemon. He's had a carry-on the whole time.
He always makes an impact. Always a carry-on, yeah. This continues to deliver. He's played 11 games this year, and he's got the 8 sacks.
Well, we added up because for the BC Lions, he played there 3 different times. Saskatchewan is on that list, but it was so brief that he didn't register a sack. But there was a couple of stops there briefly. There's 2 other leagues in the NFL and Arena as well. 38 sacks with the Stampeders, a couple of visits there, and then. But I'll tell you what, he makes every defense that he plays on better.
I'm still wondering if that lemon celebration was awkward or awesome. I don't know.
I was thinking of mixing a beverage. Cutting one of those.
I'll hand it off to Brown. And Kevin Brown on the ground has a first down for Edmonton. One more play here in the quarter. Excellent first quarter for Edmonton. 14 points on the board. Only once this season have they scored more than 14 points in the first quarter. That was actually against Winnipeg back in August. First and 10 from the Edmonton 34. Ford, right up the middle, slides ahead. That should be close to another Edmonton first down. It is with heavy hearts that our CFL and TSN family pays tribute to a fallen teammate and a dear friend.
Yes, this is our main game camera here at Commonwealth Stadium, and for 2 decades, Sean Dunham has masterfully manned this camera, and we just lost him, our teammate, this week after a courageous battle with cancer.
Originally from Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia, Sean made Edmonton his home and sports television his vocation. And the Canadian viewer is the better for it. An integral member of CFL, NHL, international hockey, and Olympic broadcasts, he was one of the finest camera operators this country has ever seen. But more than that, he was a great friend, a mentor to so many in the industry, and a dedicated, loving family man. We send our deepest condolences to his wife, Linda, sons TJ and Tarek, and their families. Second quarter action just around the corner here on a beautiful Saturday at Commonwealth. Edmonton leads 14-3.
He can throw from the pocket. Half of those rush yards are Trey Ford. Pretty good start offensively for Edmonton.
Second, and inches Cornelius into the game, pushes ahead. That's a no-doubter. First down for Edmonton. And that is pretty much what they've been doing so far this entire game. Nice combination of moving the ball through the air and on the ground with both Ford and Kevin Brown, who's got 26 yards on 4 carries.
I will say this though, it's a tough game to play in for Montreal. I mean, you want to play hard, you're trying to play hard, but you're also trying to protect yourself from getting a nick before you go into the playoff run.
How do you do that though?
Well, you can't think about it, and yet it's there. You want to play structurally sound, hustle to the ball, somehow not get hurt.
Back to Brown, picks his way ahead. Takes it outside the 50 for 5 more and puts him over 30 yards in the ball game.
Yeah, so tough to coach too. I mean, you want to see. You're not going to see that because they're human beings. I know they're football players and they're taught to repetition and to play at the standard that you set all season for them. But then you get into a game where nothing can change in the standings, and it's tough to fight the urge to protect yourself rather than just go and fly around and play.
2nd and 5. Ford, high ball. Lewis went up for it, and he could not haul that one in. First incompletion of the day for Ford will stop this drive just shy of midfield.
What I like this defense for Montreal. Darnell Sankey helps. That was a late add in the season. He's back at that middle linebacker. We've just talked about Sean Lemon, his 100 career sacks, a couple of interceptions, 8 of those sacks this year, by the way. Closing in on double figures again.
First time today we've seen Jake Julian, and he gets that one away. Bounces just outside the 25 and all the way out of bounds. 38-yard kick. Cody Fajardo coming back onto the field here as he tries to get the Alouettes in fine form for the looming playoffs in the East. Well, we didn't do many Montreal Alouettes games, so I'm still getting used to seeing Cody Fajardo in an Alouettes uniform, but here's his last 7.
Well, you take a look at the last 3 games, it's 3-0, 80%. That's why I mentioned just between 70 and 80% in the completion percentage department. You know, I think there's all the top quarterbacks in the league this year have had some issues at times with interceptions. I think Cody's thrown a couple this year, but he's below the top 3 quarterbacks yardage-wise as far as total number of interceptions. So, you know, DBs can make their plays too. I think Cody Fajardo, he hasn't said this directly to me, and I missed the Zooms because it was planes, trains, and automobiles this weekend. But, you know, when you think about how so many people have written Cody Fajardo off, you know, he's a starting quarterback that took Saskatchewan to the West Final 2 years. Didn't get to the Cup, couldn't beat Winnipeg, but got him there. And I think quietly Fajardo is motivated to prove the haters wrong.
On the run to his right. Eventually finds a way to throw it away. Looked like they had him wrapped right up. AC Leonard in his face with a couple of chirps. 2 and out here for the Montreal Alouettes. Edmonton will get the ball back, possibly in good field position.
Levi Mitchell and Matthew Schultz combination in Hamilton. Cody Fajardo. A little back and forth there with 2 veterans.
Zima kicks it away from his own 15. High one. That's going to hang up there. Eventually taken after 47 yards by Cobb. A burst back out to about the 50 on the return for Edmonton. Football. Saturday afternoon football here at Commonwealth. Edmonton team that certainly doesn't want to go through the motions. Guys are playing for contracts. They've got a lot of rookies in this lineup trying to earn that second year here with the Elks. You know Ford's going to be here. To his left. Far side, goes up high, jump ball, and Gino Lewis is there to grab it.
Well, I think the other thing, I mean, yeah, contracts for sure, and you know, we've talked about that, certainly for Trey Ford, but others too, and you know, getting the invite back to training camp next year. I know 87 will be an automatic. Make sure they get him back. But the other side of this is to give the great football fans here in Edmonton that have suffered through some tough times here, just maybe a little snapshot of what they'll see next year.
Ford turns around, hands it off to Brown. This time he'll need a little bit of a boost from his offensive line. Sutton, Sankey in the mix on the tackle.
Oh, and everything will be evaluated. The coaching staff will be evaluated top to bottom. And you know, we don't fire anybody up here, and I'm not suggesting that by any stretch, but you know, every team goes through it, whether you win or lose. But I think the Edmonton Elk fans have earned a good team. They're due for a good team in 24.
Ford with time down the field again for Lewis, and he hauls it in with something right there. And big number 87 has been activated for 17 yards in this offense.
Well, it just thread the needle too for Ford, but right in that slot back spot, Eugene Eugene Lewis, little outcut, and then back into the middle. The spotlight switched to the DB. It was such a good move. And Eugene Lewis wide open.
Edmonton with an 11-point lead, looking for more. This time Ford thrown down to the turf by Beverett. His 7th sack of the season. Where did he come from? He was there right away, wasn't he?
Well, they were free off the edge, both. There was 2 of them coming. There was Beverett on one side, and it was there, and it was there. And if Ford decides to give here to Kevin Brown, you know, maybe they have something with a Brown cut to the left, but he decided to pull it because he turned his eyes to the back and didn't see Stubblefield and Beverett off the edge free.
2nd and long. This time on the draw to Brown. He's got a burst up and over. Stayed on his feet, landed it too before he was eventually taken down. It's not going to be enough for a first down, but you can throw it on a highlight reel somewhere.
9.5. He loves it.
How did he get up there? 5'9".
Young Edmonton Elk football fan just gave him a 10. In the high wire act, spin and sticks the landing.
He landed it.
Sticks the landing.
I really like the idea of Kevin Brown thinking he was going to jump over 3 Alouettes there. Good on him. Well, big season. He's actually been contained a bit. He hit 1,000 yards and then just 28 yards on 12 carries over the last couple of games. He's almost at 50 already here, midway through the 2nd quarter. And this is one of those things last season. Same sort of boat. And they brought in Brown, and he got a look, got a job, been a big part of things. Same with Dylan Mitchell last year. Kind of came in partway through the year, had an impact, got a job again for this year. There's still that opportunity for 1 or 2 guys to prove themselves in that role this year.
Yeah, no question about that. And this is what I talked about at the balance for Montreal and what they're dealing with in this game. That's Beverett. Mentioned off the top, and that he is, you know, I believe probably their nominee for outstanding defensive player, and he's having some issues just getting up off the turf here. So we hope he's not badly hurt. But was Beverett part of it? I mean, he's to the right there of the 3 guys. He gets hit and then
Kind of got clipped low.
Some friendly fire low.
He's up and off. Coming into this game, 78 tackles, 17 special teams tackles, 6 sacks, picked up his 7th today, 4 knockdowns, 4 fumble recoveries, 3 tackles for a loss. Like, he's just a couple of touchdowns on fumble recoveries. He's done everything.
Leads the team in their tackles. Yeah.
Couple of flags. That was weird. There was some movement. No flags. Everybody stopped and looked at each other, and then a couple of flags were thrown out. And this could end up being 3rd and 1 if it is against Montreal.
Take a look who moves first. Jordan Reeves stood up.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in a 3-point.
So he was okay.
Well, he wasn't on the line of scrimmage in a 3-point.
Right?
Yeah, so we'll see.
I think they were pointing at Stubblefield, but
Offside. Montreal number 45. It's 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
3rd down, but 3rd down and a yard now.
And Cornelius will trot back out here, needing just a yard. Mason Moss obviously not happy.
Well, it looked like Jordan Reeves was on that wing set, so he was off the line of scrimmage and wasn't in a 3-point. Didn't have his hand on in the turf, so he can move.
So he
can stand up. That's fine.
Defender jumped,
and the defender jumped after that.
Cornelius in and needing a yard to keep this drive alive with just over 8 minutes remaining here in the second. Edmonton on top, 14-3, and a good push. And that'll be a first down for Edmonton. And Trey Ford, Brown, and Moore, and Arsenault, and Lewis pop back out onto the field and try to find the end zone here.
Yeah, for a team heading into playoffs, that kind of thing is going to drive Jason Moss crazy. To be 3rd and 6, like you're getting off the field with a field goal attempt, and then jumping offside, basically gifting the Elks a new set of downs.
3rd trip to the red zone today. They're 2 for 2, 63.3% of the red zone coming in to the game so far this season. Ford out into the flat. Kyron Moore finds some space, looking for the end zone again, lunging in there. Touchdown Edmonton, 2nd of the day for Moore. And they blow this thing wide open midway through the 2nd.
We'll show you the play first because it's a quick bubble screen to Kyron Moore. Tremendous block by Geno Lewis at the point of attack, but a backside block by the veteran Manny Arsenault. Look at that block by 87. Right in the middle of your screen.
Kyron Moore supermans it into the end zone. Faithful knocks through another one, and Edmonton on top 21-3 against the Montreal Alouettes. 2nd of the game, 4th of the season for Moore, and Trey Ford's got 2 touchdown passes and a lead.
I'm a football, bro.
Dangerous weapon in this Edmonton offense.
I want to show you the assist. Eugene Lewis out there, the big-time pass catcher. He's okay with the big block, too, right on the corner, and just getting his man right out of there. Great backside block as well. We'll get to that in a sec, but Kyron Moore gets the goal. And
This nigga trying to go so
Eugene Lewis, the assist. He's saying, no, but you don't get there unless I block you. That may be as much fun as the scoring of a touchdown.
Talking about it after.
Talking about it after.
Letcher taken down quickly on the return. There's Moore finishing off an 8-play, 61-yard drive, and Edmonton on top. From Calgary to Edmonton on that show. I'll never believe they couldn't make it more difficult. Fun game last night for us down in Calgary. Riders and Stamps, a big one. Calgary came out on top there. Fajardo still in the game here, down the field, his best pass of the ball game. Big hit at the end there from Franklin, but a completion on the play to Speaker.
Yeah, probably the best throw of the afternoon for Cody Fajardo. Steps into this dig route. Speaker in the middle of the 3 receivers to that side. He runs that inside dig at about 15-20, and there's the big hit from Franklin. Good football play all around.
Franklin has got a decent look this year in this defense for Edmonton. High ball up there. Nice job by Mack to go up and get it. Palumba made sure he couldn't turn it upfield. That'll bring up 2nd down after a 6-yard pickup to Austin Mack.
Yeah, Donovan Alumba is that one of those young guys that the Elks through this game and their next game can take a look at. Portland State in his senior year. It's a 2nd start out there. A little time in Winnipeg, a little time in Hamilton.
Jardo 2nd and 4. Gets it back into the hands of Speaker. And Kai Gray, the rookie corner, makes the tackle. Finally, some signs of life for this Montreal offense.
Well, it started with that real good dig route to over the middle to Speaker, and then this just keeps him going, gets him in a bit of a rhythm, and drops it out against that zone look.
Fajardo, 6 of 8, 48 yards so far in the game. He'll keep Speaker in the slot over to his right. Fajardo in trouble, trying to get away. He will not. Jake Seresna, give him an even dozen on the season.
12 sacks. Does he have time? Can he get there? They've got Winnipeg. They've got Montreal for another half and 5 minutes. Can he catch Matthew Betts? Can anyone catch Matthew Betts in the sack race? Got his hands up and then drags down from behind Cody Fajardo for number 12 on the season.
Give him a loss of 3 on the play. 2nd and 13 for the Alouettes, having to settle for just a field goal offensively so far in this game. 3-man pressure. Fajardo takes what he can get with Speaker. Moves it down inside the 20, but they will be a couple yards shy of a Montreal first down.
See where they get forward progress here. Yeah, it is a full 2. In fact, a little more than 2. Yeah.
It's a long 2 right there.
And this is where Jason Moss in this game that doesn't have anything to do with the standings wants to continue to make the right decision to practice good habits so that you don't slip. You don't want to get into playing that turn the switch on type of football. Well, we'll just wait and we'll turn the switch on in a couple of weeks when the playoffs start. Don't want to do that.
You can ask baseball teams how that's going.
Timeout.
Top
Montreal.
baseball teams in the MLB playoffs right now. They were 1-12 in the first 13 games. They had a little bit of time out of sync, and Montreal trying to avoid that here. They just take the 3 here. A lot of thought going into this one for Montreal.
It looks like they're going to leave their O out there, but you know, again, I think you play as if this was the game and you were in the playoffs and you were down 21-3, would you take the 3 here? I would. Jason Moss is deciding to go in a different direction.
4, now 3 to his left. James Tuck, fullback, will slide in to protect. Fajardo looking down the near side to Speaker, and he's got it. 3rd catch on this drive for Cole Speaker. 11 yards here will be enough for a first down.
And Speaker is, you know, being relative newcomer in there. I mean, he's been around for a couple of years, but to come back, see how he works his way back. Come back to the football. Cody Fajardo throwing him open to pull him back away from that coverage from Darius Bratton.
1st and goal from the Edmonton 8 for Fajardo. Walter Fletcher stands in to the left of his quarterback. Now will flare out. Fajardo goes the other way. Has a completion down towards the end zone, and they're in. Touchdown, Montreal.
We'll take a look and see if they counted. All the touchdowns are reviewed automatically. It looked like he was close, whether he was down by contact, but that's Tyson Philpott. That would be touchdown 3 in 3 games. Getting hot at the right time. But did he get there and cross the plane? Yeah, I think he did.
Great effort. Great effort from Philpott. Couple of Elks on his back, stretching out.
Oh, yeah, that's good. He crossed the plane. That's it.
Play is under review by the command center.
All the command center will see is a pretty impressive play by Philpott. Continues to settle in his 2nd year.
Well, he missed the first 5 games, and you know, that kind of put him in a catch-up mode, but he has been coming on. 6 catches for 90 yards in their last game last week against Ottawa, and playing his best football when they get turning the corner here to the playoffs.
Altos knocks it through. We've got an 11-point game. 7 plays, 65-yard drive, 3.5 minutes for Montreal to cut into this Edmonton lead. All right, let's send it down to Ryan Rashad.
Yeah, hey guys, talking to Cody Fajardo this week, a little bit about facing a team that wasn't near the playoff race and what it was going to look like challenge-wise. He said, it's always interesting. Teams can be dangerous this late in the year. Guys have different things to play for. Sometimes it's the contracts, trying to put food on the table for their family the next year, but definitely not a team that they wanted to take lightly, just given their record recently, but also the fact that guys really are trying to prove something and finish the season strong here, and they're definitely finding a pretty stiff challenge here this afternoon, a group of Elks players that have galvanized over the last month or so and trying to build some positive energy to carry into next season, at least for those who are going to be back.
Well, that'll be an evaluation process
You gotta learn a stiff arm
over the next couple of games.
He's just taking all the hits. Are you done?
Philpott, big piece of what Montreal has built here. Mac, Sneed, also having nice seasons. Montreal's found themselves in a spot here down where they can push, claw themselves back and stay involved in this football game as opposed to putting it on cruise control and start thinking ahead to the playoffs against Hamilton. Now on the return, Alexander, pretty nice one. Takes it out beyond the 40.
Montez Alexander, getting a chance to, just get some video down for this coaching staff or any other coaching staff in the league. That's the other thing that these players are doing. I mean, Ryan mentioned that either here or somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, all the video is your resume as a football player, and other teams will be looking if next year in Edmonton doesn't work out for some guys.
87!
First and 10 from the Edmonton 44. Trey Ford, 11 of 12 on the day. Pressure coming from behind, batted out of his hands. Alouettes scoop it up, and now they've got some room to rumble. They're going to take it back the other way, all the way towards the end zone, and they're in. Touchdown, Montreal. Mustafa Johnson. Johnny on the spot, picked it up, took it home. And things get interesting in Commonwealth late in the second quarter.
Ugawak from the backside, number 96, I believe is the guy who strips Trey Ford of it. There he is around the edge, and does he get the right arm? He punches it out before the arm went forward. It looks like one hop there to Mustafa Johnson, and goodbye, he's gone. That's pretty good speed for a big man.
Even if Ford could have got there, he would have had to kind of hang on his back with Johnson moving pretty well. Second year out of Colorado. Putting together a pretty nice season himself. He'll certainly take this one. Good eyes on that ball. Picked it up nicely. And just like that, Montreal strikes back. A fumble from Ford. And after allowing 14 points in the first quarter, Montreal has now scored 14 points in a matter of moments here in the second quarter. Philpott, first to the end zone. Oh, yeah, that's the saying. Get your bag of small popcorn ready. Johnson follows it up nicely.
Well, guys, we'd like to say thanks to Mustafa Johnson and Tyson Philpott for making this game interesting. We got a lot to talk about at halftime now, guys.
That's something.
Yeah. And we will also preview the evening game with Ottawa and Toronto when we come back.
Already lots to talk about. It's still 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the half. This story yet to be told at Commonwealth in the first couple of quarters. Johnson making it back-to-back touchdowns for the Alouettes. Alexander on the return. And he'll get stopped just shy of the 35.
Mentioned when Kyron Moore got his second touchdown, how it's so exciting for the players. It's fun for the players to go and talk about. It looks like they're saying there was a fumble here.
Well, Montreal has come out with the ball. There's been no ruling on the field just yet. And now they're going to rule that it actually is Montreal's ball. Boy, that took a while for the officials to actually come up with the call. And when they do, Montreal with another takeaway.
Like Tanner Green trying to make an argument that he was down. No, I don't think he was. That looks like it was out before the knee touched.
Deontay Alexander.
Previous play is under review by the command center.
Now, did Alexander have possession and then it ripped out late?
Like when they get down here.
Although ruling on the field is turnover Montreal ball, therefore now they have to find the evidence that would overturn that ruling.
Alexander, CFL debut, trying to make an impact, maybe get a deal next year. Probably fighting it maybe a little bit too much here.
Trying to break a tackle and I don't think there's any question it was out.
But did he?
But I'm just wondering about.
Did it come back down in between his legs, and did he have it?
So does he have
right
possession right there, and or they're considering that live ball?
Ooh, that's interesting.
I don't know. There's not enough evidence there.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. It's first down Montreal.
Exactly. Not enough evidence to overturn it from the command center, so therefore the ruling, no matter which way it went, on the field stands.
Couple of turnovers. Chris Jones hangs his head on the sideline. Edmonton minus 13, now minus 15 in that turnover ratio so far this season. Fajardo. Ooh, and that's a drop. Wide open. You don't see that very often from 81, Austin Mack.
Oh, he wanted to put a move on. He had a move in his mind. Watch, he's going to watch him turn around real quick. Oh, forgot the mail.
Probably going to need. Second and 10. Three men rush. Fajardo back over near side. Right back to Mack. This time he goes down and he gets it for a Montreal first down.
Boy, he had to work and dig at this one because coming out of his break, Austin Mack stumbles and now he's on the ground trying to crawl to this throw. A little bit of pressure, so it was an off-balance throw, and you can see the stumble there, and Mack just fighting his way back to it. He picks it up, not down by contact yet, and then it's punched out, but the Elks would have had to touch it again before it went out of bounds.
It's crazy that he dropped the first one, but managed to crawl back and lay out to catch that one. From the Edmonton 18. Into the hands of Fletcher. Broke one tackle, but then was tracked down by Curtis and Purifoy.
Another building block for next year is Luchez Purifoy and Noah Curtis, along with Serezna in that defense. Tony Jones, who's playing tonight at middle, or today at middle linebacker, he's a guy that you want to keep around, even though Niles Morgan's had such a huge year. Purifoy just has great football instincts. Football IQ is there.
He's got a couple of touchdowns, pick sixes this season. And you mentioned Curtis. He's been a heck of a find so far out of Kaiser University, the first player ever to be drafted into any league out of Kaiser. And he's had a couple of sacks here in his rookie season. Building block, big Canadian kid.
Some pretty impressive Canadian performances this year when you think of Matthew Betts on the defensive line in Vancouver and Marc-Antoine Duquois here, free safety, on a big year.
Emilus is having a nice year. Dembski's having a nice year.
Brady Oliveira.
Well, I was going to say, but the conversation always comes back around to Brady Oliveira, who possibly hit 2,000 combined yards on the ground and in the air. 2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8 for Fajardo. Looks to his right, throws to his right. Did they drop it in there? No. Looking for Sneed. Incomplete.
Boy, the field is so wide, 65-yard wide field, and it gives quarterbacks a chance to throw an out route like they're throwing a deep go route. It's just a long way for the ball to travel, and just by a step, Sneed is out of bounds, but there's a shot coming right in the living room. Hang on.
Working there against McConzo was Sneed. 3rd and 8. And that one's knocked through by Malto. So we've got a 1-point game with 94 seconds remaining. Just a minute and a half away from halftime. Farhan and the panel will be breaking this bad boy down. And another game to set up later on today. Argos and Red Blacks. Might have to update that Farhan photo. I think that goes back a few years, doesn't it? That goes back a few years.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of promos where Friday Night Football, a couple of them, I look back and I think, I'm okay with that.
I think we've got a promo photo of our sideline guy, Rashad, when he was like 26 years old. Looks terrific. Ford hands it off. Brown breaks a tackle. 1st down, Edmonton. And they're thinking, put a few more points on the board here, the minute and a half to work.
Absolutely, time for a full drive. I mean, you don't have to even think field goal just yet at 1:28 in the 1st half. Good start to this drive with Brown up the middle.
A couple of turnovers to put Montreal right back into this game, but Trey Ford's 11 of 12 for 148 yards and a couple touchdowns. He's had an excellent 1st half. Will be throwing here. Another completion, this time to Dylan Mitchell, and that's another Edmonton 1st down.
Yeah, the turnovers weren't necessarily mistakes. I mean, one on the special team, so that wasn't Ford or the offense, and then the one that was scooped and scored by Mustafa Johnson, that was a strip from behind, so those are caused turnovers. Oh.
Flags on this one as the Alouettes showed some pressure. Stubblefield moved, but was he drawn off by Edmonton?
Procedure, Edmonton number 62. It's a 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Martez Ivy on the offensive line for Edmonton, the guilty party.
Left tackle. Yep, up out of his chair. O-line, when they're pass protecting, they have a chair. DBs, when they're covering, have a chair.
Lewis takes it, gets a couple of blocks, pushing ahead. They'll take it back up to the 40, so 2nd and manageable after another pass to Gino Lewis, his 4th catch of the game for 46 yards.
Ford will be calling the plays on the line of scrimmage. Squeeze as many as he can out of this final minute.
Ford and Brown. Ford quickly gets it away. That was right close to the 1st down marker, and I think they had enough into Gavin Cobb's arms for the 2nd time this afternoon. Drive continues.
Thrown on time with great recognition here in this drive for Trey Ford. Just taking a look at Sean Lemon on that last play, and he didn't even barely get to the tackle before that ball was out of his hands.
Moves it again quickly here, but that one incomplete. Cobb working there against Wesley Sutton. Never really had a crack at it.
Yeah, well covered. Real well covered. Wesley Sutton made it impossible for Ford to try and fit it in there. It was like it was on to throw it real far to the outside to that sideline so that maybe Cobb can get there with a one-hander but keep it away from the DB. He was right in his back pocket.
Sixth play of this late second quarter drive for Ford and the Edmonton offense. Need 10 to keep it cruising. From the Montreal 33. Ford down the field, and that one incomplete. Claw was lurking there, wasn't he?
And I'm just looking at the open. I think that's what Trey Ford is looking at too.
Could have taken off of that.
Yeah, he got outside and was. I don't think there was any question he'd get to the first down marker. I mean, look at he had a one-on-one outside with the D lineman.
You like his chances in that one?
Well, I do like his chance. I like his chances against 3 or 4 D linemen or a couple of linebackers. Heck, you could sprinkle in a DB or two, and I like Ford's chances in the open field.
Faithful, 81.5% on the season. And that one is wide right. Brought back up by Letcher. Letcher breaks a couple of tackles, trying to find some space, and he's still going all the way up to midfield. Faithful can't stop him, cuts past him as well, down to the 30, still going. Will he take it all the way? Bye-bye, yes! Touchdown, missed field goal return from James Letcher, all the way to the house, and Montreal goes on top late in the half.
Well, again, forget about the playoffs right now for these two teams. You're going to just see some great athletic performances from different players. We talked about Trey Ford. He's shown a little bit about what he's all about and how good and special he is as an athlete. How about this? James Letcher out of Washburn, 5'7", 172. And the Canadian Football League has given another opportunity to a small, fast returner.
Just his third game this season with Montreal. He had to work for that one. Right, there's some changes of pace there. Voided a couple of tackles. Faithful tried to get him in midfield, couldn't do it. 125-yard missed field goal return. And Montreal, they miss on the extra. 23 points in the second quarter for the Alouettes.
Never tell, Twin. Never tell, Twin.
Take another look at this return from James Letcher Jr.
And just enjoy the athleticism here, the speed, the quickness, bounces outside, got a couple bigger guys on a field goal miss on the cover team. That's why that opportunity for our quick, fast receivers in the Canadian Football League is there, because such a big field. If you miss a long field goal, some bigger guys trying to make the tackle on 5'7" speedsters that can make it happen. How many returners? I mean, right here, the best one ever played his career right here in Gizmo Williams. But that's fun.
How about Seresna getting back there for the last crack at him, too? That's a big man trying to work his way back and push him out of bounds, pushed him into the end zone instead. It's been an interesting roller coaster season for Edmonton. And this sort of fits the bill.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah. First year at Washburn. This is bobbled, will be eventually picked up at the 5. Gavin Cobb on the return, turns it back to the far side of the field and will be stopped just shy of the 30. Do you like points in football games?
I don't know.
26-21.
Edmonton had the first quarter. Montreal owned the second quarter. Hang in there. You're seeing some great football plays. How about big Mustafa Johnson getting in there? Scoop and score.
And the Montreal Alouettes, that's their 9th defensive return touchdown of the season. Beveret's got a couple, Dequoi's got a couple, and now Mustafa Johnson gets in on the fun. And if you're looking for big turning points in this game, there's about 3 or 4 of them out here.
Yeah, that was a big one. And Johnson was fast, not quite as fast as Letcher. It was, but he got
Different
it
approach
done.
to it. Mustafa Johnson's with Reimer Schott.
We'll talk about a tale of 2 halves there. Maybe just what was it like on the sidelines when you were down as far as you were and it seemed like the coach was pushing for more out of you guys?
Oh, the sidelines, the energy was up. We knew we had to stay together. We knew we had to make plays, and we knew we had to stay in this game. It's only halftime. And going into the next half, we know it's the same thing. Basically 0-0, and we got to keep that energy high.
Little moments can make a big difference. You knock a ball loose, go for a little bit of a run. Tell me about that play. And did you know that it was Trey Ford chasing you down and hanging off your back?
Luckily, I saw the camera, so I did know he was chasing me down. That's why I checked it at the end. But got to give it to my guys at the wall. Got the ball out of there, just playing football. You know, team football getting there, for sure.
Thanks, Mustafa.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, let's check in with Farhan and the panel.
Wow, baby.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Now, how about that for entertainment? You get the scoop and score on the fumble return, and then James Lecter Jr., 125 yards. It's not necessarily the Owls' offense that's doing it, but the other phases have got it going for them.
Yeah, defense and special teams. And we were talking about, does this game mean anything for either one of these teams? Well, it means something for James Letcher because he's a guy who's not only trying to play in this game, but he's trying to get on the playoff roster. And when you're trying to get on the playoff roster, you're hungry, you're feisty, and you're going to do whatever you need to do. And this is a play right here by this young man, only playing his 3rd game, 125 yards. This is the biggest play of the game so far. Right before the half, it gives his team momentum, and maybe it'll wake them up because early on we saw these guys and they were somewhat sleepwalking. They were basically saying, hey, our spot is locked up, we can't gain anything. Well, every time you step on the field, it's a meaningful game, and we saw James Letcher right there put his team in a great position to win this game. So congratulations to that young man, and we can see what he can do for the second half and maybe the rest of the season and maybe into the playoffs.
Milt, there was no somewhat about it. They sleepwalked through a quarter and over a quarter and a half. And then they finally woke up, and Cody Fajardo completed a couple passes. They got some things going, and then, like you say, special teams, some turnovers. I thought Glenn Suter had a great point. You don't just turn it on and turn it off.
Right.
For Montreal, they have this game, then a bye, and then they play Hamilton, a team they're going to play in the first round of the playoff. And what are they going to do in that? And so I think it's important for them to maintain this good feeling that when you're playing good football, you get a good feel about yourself. And I think that's crucial for them in this game to finish up.
Jim, it's the yin and the yang out there going on right now. And we saw the yang in the first quarter and a half of football for the Edmonton Elks. But here's an example. A.C. Leonard on Cody Fajardo, and you know, they're just kind of like playing patty cake there. And they could have taken down Fajardo right there, and they understand that, hey, he's got a playoff series coming up, and kind of loving on each other. And here, Noel Thorpe says enough's enough. I'm going to go ahead and send it all out blitz, and you got Beveret sacking the quarterback there. And at the end of the day, Suit said it best. This is a football game. If you're not going 100%, you're going to hurt yourself. And there was a minute there that we thought Beveret might have been down on that crazy run by Kevin Brown. But in that first half, what got my attention, we talked about it at the top of the show, guys. Trey Ford, what's he playing for? He's playing for, you said money.
Money. He's playing for money.
And I think he's playing for, obviously, experience and understanding and just knowledge. And I really liked what I saw from that young kid. His numbers speak for themselves, 14 to 17, 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I think he needs to continue to play fast and free. Because I think there in that second quarter, he started trying to do things from the pocket, and I said, just be you. You'll figure it out on the fly. Don't press that issue. And again, he had the edge, and he didn't take it. He tried to throw across his body, and that's not his game.
Well, Montreal did a great job of putting some pressure on him.
Oh, they just dialed it
put some
up a little
pressure on him.
bit.
They said, okay, enough of this. Let's slow this down. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this in this second half.
Yeah, Ford and the Elks with an 18-point lead late in the second quarter, but the Owls with 23 points to close it out. When we come back, 2 other teams looking for meaning, Ottawa and Toronto, will preview And coming up after this game, the second half of our CFL on TSN doubleheader at 7 Eastern, it is the Red Blacks visiting Toronto. Red Blacks obviously out of the playoffs. The Argos have clinched first. They're looking to finish a perfect 9-0 at home this season. And Jim, we do know that Chad Kelly is going to start this game. We don't know how much he's going to play, but Ryan Dinwiddie said this week it's important for him to get his offense back in sync.
Well, they've had some changes at receiver due to injuries, and I think one thing Ryan wants to do is make sure his team is taken care of. Chad Kelly's a first-year quarterback. I mean, he's learning the game still. A lot of the same things, Matt, you talked about Trey Ford with. Chad Kelly's the same way. He learns every game he plays. So for him, I wouldn't be shocked to see him play a quarter, a half, but they want to get him in rhythm. They want him feeling comfortable so that when he goes into the playoffs, they're ready to win.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, it's important to have some type of flow, some type of continuity within an offense going into the football game. And you're also chasing this record right here, and it's pretty lofty numbers right there. Look, this team obviously is the Grey Cup champions. They're 8-0 at home. Farhan, you mentioned that, trying to be perfect at home. Wasn't long ago that we were talking about the Argonauts having to play better at home and trying to win games to put fannies in seats. No, that's not the case anymore. This football team's checked that box off. In fact, it's been phenomenal watching them kind of play with their joystick out there, just playing with teams. Just toyed with Edmonton last week, 32-15, 35-12 score, and doing it with a lot of different people, getting them some really key reps out there, Milton. I think that's big time for this football team. Continue to tinker with it, try to keep that flow moving forward, and go perfect at home.
Yeah, we talk about the offense. Well, one player won't be involved with offense today is Ouellette. So it'll just be interesting to see how Ryan Dinwiddie plays out the last two games. I'm sure he wants to rest guys, but he also, as you mentioned, they want to keep that rhythm. You don't want to lose that rhythm going into the playoffs because you're still going to have a bye after the regular season ends. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays those guys. I think he'll play, the quarterback as much as he can today, maybe 2.5, 3 quarters. But those last two games, I think he'll rest them because they're road games. So I think those at last home game, he wants to play them as much as possible, and we'll see what happens those last two.
But that defense is intact.
Good.
All those D linemen, linebackers, they're intact.
Not good news for Dustin Crum or Nick Arbuckle or whoever plays a quarterback. Crum's still trying to gain as much experience as possible. Meanwhile, the Elks trying to get some momentum back after their fast start. Stats coming up after the break.
Well, this pretty much sums up the way the half went. All Edmonton, offensively, 264 yards, but 2 turnovers, a missed field goal for a touchdown, 3 sacks by the Elks, by the Alouettes. That tells a story. That's why they're behind.
Hey, the big story for us, entertaining football. We've got 47 points scored in that first half. We'll see if these two teams can continue to put on a show when we come back.
Missed out of the backfield in the passing game.
Well, a very interesting first half here in Edmonton. The Alouettes now lead the Elks 26-21. Kyron Moore with a couple of touchdowns is with Ryan Rashad.
Kyron, so many good things for your football club early in that half. What do you think changed there?
We just made a couple mistakes, lost focus, turned the ball over, and those turnovers killed us.
Good half for you, couple of touchdowns. With receivers, it's always about speed, but you showed amazing breaks there, and a few guys flew by you. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, I was just running, and I know the defense, they running full speed to tackle me, so I just stopped on the dime and let them keep running and made my way in the end zone.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you. Thanks.
Great smile. He's happy to be there, isn't he?
Well, and anytime he needs me to add the sound effects for the
you got the break there. That seems like forever ago.
Yeah.
With how much has gone on in this football game, that Kyron Moore touchdown seems like forever ago.
Well, the Elks got off to such a great start in that first quarter. It was the lead. They were up 3 scores. And as Kyron Moore just explained, a few turnovers, and it can turn on a dime, and it did.
Long way to go in this football game, though. We are underway. Second half. Philpott on the return. Oh, he had a lot of speed there, didn't he? And it was Philpott who got this comeback going. They scored touchdown, field goal, touchdown in 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
Well, they got the turnover on the special teams, then that play, scoop and score. So defense gets involved in the scoring. And then on the missed field goal, the special teams missed field goal return team gets going. That's Letcher, the newcomer, James Letcher Jr. Speedster, 120.
Took everything he had, but he managed to get there. Fajardo avoids a sack. Now he'll take off on the run. Nobody on that side of the field for him to throw to, but he picks his way up outside the 40.
Good for Tyson Philpott to get out in front of his quarterback and try and protect him from taking a hit. First of all, Fajardo's going to duck. I believe it was Serezna that was free off the edge right there. He's going to duck that one, but sit to the left of your screen. Tyson Philpott just working his guy, Purefoy. Just trying to, once you know that you're not going to receive the football and you see your quarterback running, go get somebody. Go find another jersey, another color. Nice job by Philpott.
Fajardo from the Montreal 43 gets this away, and that is complete up to midfield. And Kai Gray eventually on the tackle of Philpott. 20 yards, though, on his second catch of the ball game.
Yeah, quarterback says, hey, you hit that off-color sweater, protected me. How about I give you the football? Nice little bang route. Went into the inside and then banged back outside and picked up some yak yards after the fact. Yards after catch.
Fajardo gets this one away. Antwi's got some room. He's got a blocker. He'll take it down just shy of the Edmonton 30. Maloshan Franklin was there with the run-stopping tackle.
Justin Lawrence is going to get out in front of this one. Get back to that in a second, but nice pickup. Look at 54 chugging in front of that screen.
Fletcher tripped up by Purefoy, and he goes down, and it'll be second and about 11. Small loss on the play.
Sometimes those big guys just being out in front of a screen play, you as a DB or a linebacker, you have to take the long way to get around him to make the tackle. I'm not body shaming old linemen, by the way. I'm just saying, bigger guys.
Second and 11. Fajardo with 3 receivers to his left, dumps it off to his running back to his right. And they will contain him well enough to bring up third down. Fletcher maybe a little slip on the play as well. And Montreal look to tack on 3 more here. On the one side, if you're Edmonton, you have been able to move the ball pretty well in this game, and if it's going to be a shootout, they might be equipped to keep pace here this afternoon. Montos. Puts it home, and the Alouettes climb on top by a little bit more on a beautiful Saturday at Commonwealth. Kyron Moore doubling his touchdown output on the year with a couple in the first half.
Yeah, a couple of real good touchdowns. I mean, not long ones, but watch him put the brakes on. This is what he was talking about with Ryan in the halftime interview. Slams the brakes on, a couple defenders go right by him, and then this one he does use his speed later in the first half. Superman to the end zone in the corner at inside the cone.
Edmonton starts here on their 40 after that field goal. And they'll give it to Brown, who's upended, but is able to take it outside the 45 for a pickup of about 6 yards on the play. Brown had 60 on 8 carries in the first half.
That play right there can really be the basis for the Edmonton Elks offense for next year. Little riding to side with Trey Ford, ball in his hands, in the belly of Kevin Brown, and whether he pulls it or doesn't pull it, with a fly sweep fake from Kyron Moore going across the formation.
Another completion to Moore. Nowhere to go this time. They will wrap him up. Quick apology to all of our viewers having some technical difficulties with the score bug right now. So I will just count the clock down. 10:47, 10:46, 10:45.
Okay, not all game.
I thought that's what I had to do.
Not all game.
You're right. You do it.
Okay.
I'll call the play. Yeah. Third down. Julian will be forced to kick this away. And the now, you can say, dangerous James Letcher Jr. lurking back there at the 25.
21, 20, 19.
Towering kick. That held up there forever. This time they're able to contain him. 29-21. Montreal leads Edmonton. Third quarter action. Welcome back to Edmonton, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Look at Tyson Philpott's day so far.
Working hard with a couple of catches. We saw him in the open field blocking for his quarterback, and Cody Fajardo, when he escaped the pocket. First 100-yard game was a couple games back this season, versus Toronto, just over 100. And then last week, 10 yards shy of it. So again, a few touchdowns over the last 3 games, and he is really playing good football right now.
Well, we've got our score bug back. I guess somebody unplugged it and plugged it back in. It's worked out okay. Fajardo, nowhere to go this time. Over 500 yards now in the season.
We're still just scratching the surface when it comes to the Philpott brothers. I know Jalen hasn't played all season in Calgary. It's another one of the hits injury-wise for Dave Dickinson.
Boy, they could have used him.
Yeah, but Tyson has been back in the lineup. As mentioned, missed those first 5 games, and he's a tremendous athlete. We've seen him in the return game as well. He can blow the top off the defense or be a great route runner.
Catching balls at a 75% clip this season when thrown in his direction. 3-man pressure. Fajardo, pump fake, now gets it away. And he went right back to Philpott, but not enough for the first down, and back-to-back 2-and-outs here.
There's a solid tackle, though, in the open field by Adam Konar. I believe it was, who steps up here. He's going to just cut off Philpott. Let pursuit from the backside get to him.
Third and 5, Montreal from the 28. Lima lets this go from just outside the 15. Taken cleanly at the 35, and some room to run. Clothesline there, taking down Kyron Moore, who was looking to add to his great day. There's a look at Gavin Cobb.
Gavin Cobb is doing a little coaching in the offseason leading into this training camp this past year. And take a look at Stettler Cougars in the Bantam division. That's grade 7 to 9, playing a little minor football here in Edmonton, and seeing some plays too. Like there's a couple. I didn't challenge that trip because
that was pretty greasy.
Might challenge, but there's guy giving back, playing for the Edmonton Elks, but giving back and coaching a little high school football with the Salisbury Sabres.
Hayes Vassal up here. Completion to Gino Lewis. Lewis did pass 5,000 receiving yards in his career today.
How about this one where Cobb had himself a game against Toronto? They didn't win this one, but scored that touchdown on that fantastic play by Trey Ford. And I'll tell you what, training camp next year, this receiving corps for Edmonton, they need to spend a good deal of their practice every single day on scramble rules if Trey Ford is their quarterback.
When Trey goes, you got to know where to go. Ford, another, that one almost complete. Stubblefield was there to knock it away from Moore at the last second, and that will bring up third down. Another 2-and-out for Edmonton to start the half. disrupted him just enough there, didn't he?
Yeah, just timing was right on that left shoulder, and
I'm trying. The last play was right.
it's just enough.
Midway through the third quarter, Julian set to kick this back to Montreal. That one bouncing out just outside of the 20, and Cody Fajardo will have the ball back when we return to Commonwealth on TSN. Look at this setup. Bigfoot is real. First and 10 from Montreal from the 23. And nowhere to go there, Fletcher. He was met immediately by Goulet.
I have to say, I'm a little surprised to see Cody Fajardo still on the field here.
He's kind of got probably what you would have needed.
You know, I think you have a couple series in the first half, brought your team all the way back. I mean, they took advantage of the turnovers created on the teams and on offense. The Elks offense. So now, you know, some may say because you just take a look at that last play and you say, well, they just got to keep working on their game. But you know, Caleb Evans could use some reps just in case, and you take Cody Fajardo out of harm's way with the lead going into the fourth quarter. No?
We'll see what happens. I think that has to pop up at some point here.
Just risk reward. It's always an interesting debate.
This is kicked in the direction of Ed Gainey. 50-yarder. Gainey scoops it up at the 35, goes the wrong way and loses yards on the return. Ford will have the ball, looking to jumpstart this offense again when we return on TSN. It's been a slow second half offensively for both sides, but in the first half, Trey Ford was outstanding. 16 of 20 for 178 yards and 2 touchdowns. 3 carries for 33 yards as well. One of his best halves of the season. For more on Trey Ford, let's send it down to Ryan Rashad.
So what is the code to getting through to Trey Ford? Jason Moss and I were discussing that a couple of days ago. He said, look, you want your players to hit him as often as possible, but they recognize that's not an easy thing to do. The other thing that he said his defense is going to keep a close eye on is when Trey Ford takes off with the ball, they feel he runs a little bit loose with the football, and maybe the opportunities might arise for them to be able to bat it away from him. It's just something they've noticed watching tape on him. We saw already tonight, guys, he was stripped. That was a little bit more in the pocket, but as Trey Ford takes off, they feel he's maybe a little late to pulling it in, something they're looking to take advantage of.
Well, it's something to keep tabs on. If he has issues with it along the way, something to continue to work on.
Continue to work on, no question.
Mentioned, right? Give it to Brown. Brown trying to stretch it to the outside, but nowhere to go that time.
Yeah, I mean, he's just at the beginning of his journey. I mean, he's got this opportunity now. It's when you have this diamond and you know it's different than anything we've seen in a long, long time. I've made comparisons to Doug Flutie, but I think he's quicker than Doug. You know, he can work to become the passer that Doug Flutie was, because he's not there, not yet.
Shannon Brooks into the game. Brown's being looked at on the table. Ford scrambling around. Now he'll be flushed out of the pocket. A little bit of a speed burst. Tracked down from behind by Mustafa Johnson. He showed some good speed of his own earlier in the game. Got 6 yards on the scramble, did Trey Ford. And it'd be 3rd and 1.
See what happened to Brown. Looked like maybe his ankle.
Land awkwardly maybe on that left leg. 3rd and 1. Ball will be on their own 39, and Cornelius comes out to try to keep this drive alive for Edmonton. Cornelius with a rushing touchdown earlier in the game. Can they find the push to avoid a turnover on downs? Cornelius No, they will not. That's not even close. Montreal Alouettes defense gets the job done. Boy, he really never even got a sniff of it, did he?
No push there.
No push at all.
I think Sean Lemon was one of the guys that was right in the middle of that. Lemon was down in a 4-point stance. You see, he got that early penetration, just almost anticipating the snap count. Got real deep into the backfield. Noel Thorpe, the defensive coordinator. Yeah, baby. Love that.
Neither team able to move the ball in the third quarter so far, so Montreal gifted some field position on a turnover on downs. Fajardo gets it to Antwi, and he's wrapped up immediately. 15th completed pass of the day for Fajardo. He's at 75%, 15 of 20.
So Edmonton offense in the first quarter. Got some Montreal offense in the second quarter. Defenses win the third quarter.
Yeah. What happens in the fourth quarter? Find out next. 3.5 minutes to play here. Fajardo steps up, trying to find some space on the far side, thrown down, and he'll be close to a first down. They eventually tracked him down from behind after he tried to kick it to the far side of the field. We'll give him 7 yards.
Fake like he was looking to throw it, but he was running the whole way. And that's what I mean about harm's way. There's a lot of things that can go wrong up in there. You got your QB1 running around like that, and you know, okay, Caleb Evans got 2 starts this year. He won both of them. He's in on short yardage.
Evans pushing ahead, hesitated enough to find a gap, and easily picks up the first down for Montreal with 2.5 on the clock here in the third quarter. Nice 1-2 punch here, no doubt about it, with Fajardo and Evans. Evans with 8 rushing touchdowns on the season, 3 through the air himself. And as you mentioned, 2-0. Fajardo's 7 wins, 7 losses in his starts. Fajardo quickly to James Tuck. Tuck hauls it in, his 9th catch of the year. 7th different player to catch a ball from Fajardo this afternoon.
That's 245 coming around the corner, fullback in James Tuck, and Ed Gainey took him on, veteran. Out in the flat, limited the gain.
Ed Gainey in year 11. Their safety today, a rookie. Both corners, first year with the team. Fajardo this time having to backpedal, lays it out there for Austin Mack, and he is gobbled up immediately by Luchez Purifoy. Third down, Montreal.
Because of the pass rush here, Dustin, Fajardo had to kind of float that over, and that threw the timing right off this play because Mack didn't get it in time to turn and find a place to run. And this was supposed to be kind of a direct throw to 81 right out there in the flat. He had to kind of float it over, and Purifoy just took advantage of that. Again, this is the football IQ of Purifoy. You're going to not be on time with throws, he's going to hit you.
Altos in just inside the left hash from 32 yards. And as steady as they come, he knocks it through. Just getting started here today. Don't go anywhere. Settle in. CFL on TSN continues tonight with the Red Blacks versus the Argos. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN. Argos navigating their way towards the playoffs as well, right?
that are going to rest a guy that, you know, it's a chance to give your young players some valuable time in real game action, and it's a chance to not only see what they can do, but make them more comfortable just in case you need them in the playoffs.
Ford looked downfield, now dumps it off to Brooks, his running back, and he comes up just short of a first down, but Shannon Brooks getting some run here, first year Elk. And trying to stretch out a little bit there. Brown on the sideline averaging 6.8 yards per carry tonight. 6 yards per carry on the season. 2nd and 1. Cornelius back in here again. Couldn't finish on a 3rd and short. Last time led to a turnover on downs. This time he will push ahead. And should be enough for a first down. Yes, it is. And that'll do it for the 3rd quarter of play. Montreal on top, 32-21 on the Edmonton Elks. Trey Ford and Edmonton will look to storm back in the 4th quarter. CFL on TSN. 3 quarters in the books at Commonwealth, and Edmonton trails Montreal 32-21. Turnovers playing a story in this one. Anything else stand out?
Yeah, for sure. But I think for Edmonton fans, you're looking at sort of the future of what this team can be. I know they're behind, and those turnovers were the reason for it. But when you look at the balance with the run game, over 100 yards rushing between Ford and Kevin Brown, and getting others involved, and the fly sweep to Kyron Moore, things like that. But you know, we're watching a team that I think has a ton of potential going into next season. And honestly, if you talk to a lot of people across the country right now, you talk to a lot of people across the country right now, and you talk about Calgary, Saskatchewan, and Edmonton, those 3 teams, they'll probably, a lot of them will tell you that Edmonton is probably the best team of the 3 right at this minute, the way they're playing. Now, they're behind in this game. I get that.
But that's probably why those guys are here when the wedding is tomorrow and the Elks play today. Couldn't miss the game. Started awful. I mean, there was a couple of games along the way that they probably should have got. Instead, they start 0-9. But look at the jump here from 20 to 26.7 points per game from 14.9. That's an OC change and a quarterback change at the same time.
And really the rest of the personnel around those 2.
And this time foundational building blocks here in Edmonton, as Glenn mentioned, the way that second half Edmonton Elks team might be viewed. But you look ahead, you got, he's not playing today, but Niles Morgan, middle linebacker that you can kind of build the defense around. We'll see what they do with pass rush of AC Leonard and Jake Serezna. It's a young secondary this year for sure, but on the offensive side of the ball, you have all the weapons that you could possibly really ask for.
Yeah, I think you could add a D lineman, you know, a good pass rushing D lineman. Every team would like to maybe add 1 or 2 of those guys. Need a returner.
Ford, far side, bounces in between Mitchell and Lewis. The way Gino's gone up a couple times today, might have thought that one was for him. Maybe it was meant for Mitchell on the far side.
CJ Sims not dressed tonight or today for Edmonton, but you know, he showed potential early on. I mean, had a little bit of a confidence issue, I think, after a mistake in Saskatchewan. But again, finding a quick returner, a guy that can flop the field quickly, that'd probably be a emphasis for G-Roy Simon.
Ford was hit as he threw, and this one falls incomplete. Got that one away just in time. 3rd and 10, and Julian, you forced to punt this away.
Almost got 101. Almost got there.
Track down another victim. That close.
We're watching them. Been a kind of a quiet game, but as I mentioned in the first half, Ford was throwing on time, so the D-line was having trouble just getting there, period. Came around that A. He wants to get Trey Ford on the list. There's 37 on the list, but Trey Ford's not on it. That doesn't sit well.
One of the more elusive ones to track down if he can get him. Ledger takes it at the 5, 43-yard kick. Broke a couple of tackles, but will not emerge from that pile around the 10. Sean Lemon, he just keeps going, doesn't he?
Turn holding Montreal number.
Jason Moss at the helm of the Montreal Alouettes. Getting a fresh start with the organization. Got them going to the playoffs. Got them hosting a playoff game.
Well, they hang on to this score or continue to add to it. They're looking at a 10-win season with one game to go against Hamilton, and there's the matchup, 2 wins for Montreal, so they have the season series already. That's why they're hosting. Didn't matter what happened in this one here this afternoon.
Fajardo from his own end zone, wide open down the field. He's got a man and it's Sneed all the way up to the 50. Boy, can he turn on the Jets after he hauled that one in. That'll go for 50 yards.
Good deep out throw here from Fajardo to get to Sneed. He's wide open. This is a drop coverage by Edmonton. Look how wide open he is. No one in the picture but 85. Cody's going to go wire to wire here this afternoon.
50 yards will be your longest offensive play of the ball game. Up to the Montreal 52. Fajardo quickly gets this away to Mack. He hauls it in and steps out of bounds.
It'll be an interesting matchup, though. I think Hamilton, when you think about what they've done over the last, I know they lost to BC this weekend, but went right down to the wire. And by the way, I wanted to shout out to Hamilton Tiger Cat fans. It was a sellout, so that's awesome always. But also had a real nice round of applause for Dane Evans in that game, former Hamilton
That's nice
Tiger
to see,
Cat. Yeah, it was really outstanding. And Evans, as it turned out, came in final minutes of that game to put up the winning points.
Hamilton's in an interesting spot, like you mentioned, lost to BC. The only other 2 losses in the last couple of months were to the Toronto Argos, who everybody basically loses to. So they've done a good job in the second half getting the momentum to push themselves into a matchup against Montreal. I mean, at the end of the regular season in a you can't know what we know type of game, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Or do you send a message in that game?
Well,
Well,
physically, I think you want to try and send a message. Sure, in the trenches and things like that, you want to, play hard for sure. Noah Curtis took the worst of that one. But if I'm an Owls fan, I'm a little nervous about QB1 getting hit like that.
Taking a look at the rookie Noah Curtis, we will step aside.
Coming up a little bit later on, it is the second half of our CFL and TSN doubleheader. Ottawa in Toronto. Chad Kelly will get the start as the Argos look to improve to a perfect 9-0 at home, guys.
9-0 at home if they can get her done today. Something to put a feather in the old cap. Fajardo. Time in the pocket. Inside the 30, completion of Mack. Little stutter step, and eventually forced out of bounds by Olumba.
Need time to make this throw, but Cody Fajardo has provided that time from his offensive line. And when you go with that play action, you can step in, nobody around him. Lots of time to wait for Austin Mack to cross the formation, all the way across the linebacker core, all the way across the field, 65 yards wide, catch it out there by the numbers. Need time for that one. And Fajardo got it.
Third trip into the red zone today. Leonard in the face of Fajardo forces him away, and he'll get wrapped up on the 15-yard line.
Man,
You're worried about it, eh?
I just, I guess I'm leaning towards the entertainment value of the playoffs when the starting quarterbacks are available. That's why it's exciting that Bo Levi Mitchell is making his return, and him with Matthew Schultz and Fajardo starting in the in the semifinal. And again, like, Toronto's going to start Chad Kelly, and I think that's great. I'm not saying you don't start Cody Fajardo in this one tonight or today, but you certainly, I don't know, to go the whole way with them.
Well, they might get through it. Well, it's not like he's a guy who also hasn't had injury history either.
I'm knocking on wood. I'm trying to find wood to knock on.
This desk is made out of wood.
I'm knocking on wood. There it is. Yeah, it's made of wood.
Major foul and disqualification, spitting.
Ooh.
Montreal number 68. That is a 25-yard penalty. It is second down, and Montreal is ejected from the game.
Well, that's just gross. I mean, it is. It's ridiculous, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, Lestage gets the penalty, and you can see the 8 right there leaning into that pile, and official right on it. And I'll tell you what, that's look like he's helping someone up. Oh, it started right after that.
Looked like he tried to turn around and get back there, didn't he? Well, I'll back him up. 2nd and 32 now.
Hit him in the pocketbook, too.
Fajardo needs a big chunk. And that one is intercepted. And some room the other way on the far side of the field. Marlon Franklin, his first CFL interception, gives Edmonton some life here in the 4th quarter.
Nice read by Franklin, just sitting back in that safety spot, and this is what the safety is supposed to do. He's supposed to help the 2 halfbacks in the short side corner. He's right in the middle of your screen right here. And watch how he watches the look by Fajardo, who stares down that backside post, cuts underneath it, takes it to the sideline.
Fajardo hustling over there. Try to take him down. Edmonton gets the ball on their own 49. Ford flushed out of the pocket, way back. Goes to Lewis, who came back to help his quarterback, and he's able to haul it in for a short pickup. Let's take another look at this interception.
Marlon Franklin made some plays back there, but he gets that first pick, gets the first one under his belt. Go right on the trophy case. It's a real nice read from the safety spot. Didn't have to travel a long way to go to get there. And Fajardo has to make the tackle.
Second and 8 for Edmonton offense that moved the ball effortlessly in the first quarter tonight. Struggled recently, and this one will not be enough, as they do get it to Manny Arsenault for his 3rd catch of the game. But it'll bring up 3rd down, and they're going to kick it away again.
I think Coach Jones thought about it this time.
Have you noticed that? Like, was there an adjustment made here by like Edmonton was rolling offensively for basically their first 3 or 4 possessions. I think since then it's dried up.
Yeah, I think on first down they were better against the run. Kevin Brown hasn't played in the second half of this 3rd quarter, or the 3rd and 4th quarter. Either that Nick.
Yeah, who last?
Julian lets it fly from his own 45. Taken on the far sideline by Letcher after a 36-yard kick. Cody Fajardo going the distance. CFL and TSN continues next week, beginning with a Friday night football game between the Stampeders and Lions. And don't miss next Saturday's doubleheader, only on TSN. Argos, Riders, Elks, and Bombers.
Monster game for the Stamps, monster game for the Riders. How about the Lions? They're still trying to fight for that home field. They've lost the season series to Winnipeg.
Some fun down the stretch in the CFL this season. Fajardo, they're going to move him to his right. Looking down the field, takes Philpott, makes a nice move to cut back in, and then he's thrown down to the turf by Tony Jones. Fourth catch of the game for Philpott.
And you had Ryan on the sideline talk about Fajardo and talking about playing against a team that isn't in the playoffs and kind of playing for jobs and how you got to protect yourself. And they're just going to fly around. They have nothing to lose. They just want to be good on video.
Fajardo's 21-27, 245, a touchdown and a pick. Edmonton's going to show some pressure at the line. Now they'll back it off. Fajardo gets it away. First down as he goes to Sneed in the slot to his left.
Yeah, a little bit of a show blitz there from Eli Mentzer, who's going to drop out, but drop out straight rather than drop out with a little bit of width. And that inside receiver is right there in Sneed to sit down and take advantage of a drop that went straight back instead of a little bit wider. Again, a young defender trying to find his way in there. And first down for the Owls.
Up to their own 51. Fajardo once again to his right. And he'll dump it off to Sneed, who is taken down instantly by Darius Bratton, the rookie out of Virginia.
Now, I know he didn't think this, but it really looked like Fajardo was running all the way to the sideline and then went, one of us is going to get hit. Here, you take it.
I'm the quarterback. You take this hit.
I honestly know he didn't think
Fajardo's never shied away from contact.
No, not at all. Just having a little fun, but he's right beside him and go, you know, one of us is going to get hit. It's going to be the guy that's holding the ball. You take it.
Take one for the team, right? Take one for the team. 2nd and 8. Another completion there for Cody. 23-29. 3-man rush. Fajardo. Pressure from behind. Ball pops out. Now a mad scramble. Right at midfield. Who's going to get on this one? Battle ensues. Officials trying to find that football. And Edmonton has it.
Franklin come up with it.
Let's go, baby.
He hustled to it. He got there first.
I believe they have awarded it to Montreal. They gave it back to Montreal.
Watch 32, the bottom of your screen. He takes off here after the ball pops out, and I thought he had it right there. Of course, he's fighting with an old lineman. There's Nick Callender at the bottom of that pile too, so it looked like maybe he came up with it.
Might be a tough battle to win there.
Yeah, it was Callender.
So Edmonton will get the ball back, not at midfield where they had hoped to get their hands on it. Oh.
Timeout, Edmonton.
Timeout called by Chris Jones.
Substitution necessary there.
How do you evaluate Chris Jones so far this season? Tough start.
Well, you know, I think Chris Jones has always been an innovator on the defensive side of the ball. I think there's been times when the managing of quarterbacks, when he had Michael Riley as his starter, there was no managing necessary.
That helps.
I think that's been criticized at times. And I'll just say it, this season he waited too long.
To make the switch?
Yeah. Ultimately, it's his decision. Now, you know, there's others in the organization, I'm sure, we're discussing it. But, and again, nothing against Cornelius or Jared Dagey, but Dagey getting a chance before Trey Ford, I don't know. That's
Taken just inside the 18 after a 38-yard kick. Purifoy broke one tackle, but has nowhere else to go. Alexander Gondry down the field with the tackle.
Well, he doesn't have one. He doesn't have 101. He's got 100. Great discussion in a big picture way with Sean Lemon this week. And I love the quote. He said, you know, I live life like it's second and long. Because I asked him about all the teams that he's played for, and as he at times felt like so many coaches didn't really value him where they should until they got him on their team.
Well, that's a money quote. This one broken up, intended for Kyron Moore.
Well, he said, you know, I just live in the moment. I live in the moment, and I know what I'm bringing to the table. So I just live life like it's second and long. It's my favorite down, and that's how I live my life, where I am in the moment. I just thought, wow, that's a great quote. I wrote it down. I'm keeping it. I'm going to even think about maybe noodling a country song out of it.
Well, if it was going to be a song, it would be a country song. Ford taken down. Mustafa gets there. Had a touchdown earlier. And now another sack of Trey Ford, his second of the game.
And Sean Lemon makes those guys better on the interior. You know, and this is a straight one-on-one, so I'm not taking away anything from Mustafa Johnson on the second big play of this game for him. But Lemon is going to draw double teams when it comes playoff time, and that gives you the one-on-ones in the interior.
Julian, one of his better kicks of the day. Letcher takes it at the 40. Trying to stretch around near side of the field. Letcher stays on his feet, cuts it back up, finds a little bit more space, and eventually, probably about the 7th or 8th member of the Elks, finally there to bring him down.
Well, let's take a look. Just flash back to the first half. Missed field goal, and newcomer takes it. Nice cut there. Watch the acceleration through those angles. Great speed to get the corner. Little balance on that jump, and the final to the end zone. Another weapon for the playoffs.
I like that reset mid-return, kind of stop, see where he can go next. Found some more space, got a few extra yards out of it. Now here's Fletcher. He's got a big burst down inside the 40, down to the 35. For Fletcher, that's his best run of the ball game.
Good running games for both the Ticats and the Owls. Stanback, I'm sure, will be ready for playoff time, and Fletcher's there if they need him. Great changeup, good hands out of the backfield, catching the ball. Solid O-line in front of Cody Fajardo.
Philpott will slide over. They'll give it to Fletcher. And he is taken down by McConzo. McConzo, 4th overall pick a couple of years ago. That'll take us to 3 minutes here at Commonwealth. Montreal in control, on top by 11.
Don't forget, CFL fans, at the conclusion of this game, we will have the second half of our CFL and TSN doubleheader. Ottawa is in Toronto. DeVarce Daniels has had a resurgent season. He'll get to catch a few passes from Chad Kelly. We'll see for how long when we come back.
That's on the way for the rest of your Saturday here on TSN. That second quarter from Montreal, the difference in this football game, 23 points hung on Edmonton. Looking to tack on a few more here. 2nd and 9 for Fajardo. They'll Handed off, another big burst, some room to run, taking it down inside the 15 is Fletcher before being tackled by Konar.
Great timing on this call. This is where the offensive coordinator gets the kudos, because that's just tremendous timing on stunts and pressure up front to run that quick draw up the middle. Linebackers already up close to the line of scrimmage. They can't react till late in the run, and Konar just basically saves a touchdown.
Fajardo back to Fletcher. This time a couple of yards before he's stopped in his tracks by Tony Jones.
Montreal line and run game versus the front seven of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Like that matchup.
It was 21-3 for Edmonton in this football game. Montreal has dropped 29 unanswered on them. 2nd and 8. Fajardo, this one designed for him, and he takes it inside the 10, and he is stopped.
Well,
he bounces back.
I just said I loved the last call on that draw. I hate this call.
Don't like that one, eh? I just keep him out of harm's way.
Risky, man. You are literally 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from hosting the playoff game. Win there, you're going to Toronto. One more win, you're going to the big game in Hamilton. Risky.
16-yarder for Jose Maltos. And hammers that one through. From one kicker to the other kicker. Dean Faithful, first year, 36-year-old rookie. Mr. Coors Light, moment of chill. He's warming up here prior to the game. He's got his family from overseas in attendance. And where are they warming up? At the tailgate. Getting to meet a bunch of Edmontonians and Elks fans.
Alberta can tailgate now.
Oh, yeah. Calgary's had a good one.
Calgary or Edmonton.
And there's the family. Looked like a faithful wave in there, too, I think I saw at some point. So they are here to watch Dean play. A little bit of a slow start for Faithful, but he did settle in throughout the year. Just under 82%. Missed that big one tonight, though.
I think Chris Jones early in the year just kind of eased him in.
Yeah.
Didn't ask him to kick real long field goals early on, and raised a couple of eyebrows, but he's settled in nicely. Made the game winner with the wave.
Yeah, with the wave, it was a big thing. He was telling us, I had a chance to chat with him on my show here in Edmonton, and he basically said he was a project manager. He was a project manager when he got a call to go and become a field goal kicker, and he thought, why not? Like, go take a run at it and see how it works. And now he finds himself here in the Canadian Football League, and this return taken just outside the 40. Final home game of the year for Edmonton. They did snap the slide that we talked about for years on end. Something to build on there. Don't like seeing it end this way when you had a 21-3 lead, though. This game itself kind of sums up the whole season. Lots of times the team looked pretty good, and then there were other times they couldn't get out of their own way.
Well, in that third or second quarter, what was it, 23?
23 they gave up, yeah.
Gave up 23 off the turnovers and mistakes. Again, not all on number 2 or the offense, but again, you know, when we say that Trey Ford needs to keep working on his game, all the young quarterbacks do. Dustin Crum in Ottawa, I mean, all of them. And there's a few of them, and the future looks bright at the position when you think about a lot of the performances from some of these young guys. Get them all signed up under contract, and Waterloo, and we haven't said it all night, but he happens to be Canadian.
It certainly helps, doesn't it? Ford, far side. Completion.
Well, it helps when it comes to an off-season full of appearances and signing autographs and, you know, and training and going to amateur football. We showed you some amateur football from Alberta, and Trey Ford in this offseason is going to lead the way in that. When he walks into a young kids playing football, and then they see him do stuff like this out here at the pro level, they think, hey, maybe it could be me. Why not me? And that's what he will do. That's what Nathan Rourke did and will continue to do. And that's what Trey Ford can add. And that's where the Canadian part is important. Once you cross that stripe, it doesn't matter about what your passport says.
Down the field, that one up for grabs, and it falls incomplete. He was looking for Dylan Mitchell. And that'll bring up third down with 43 seconds on the clock.
But I would even put Jake Mayer for Calgary in the category of still learning the nuances.
He's like the most experienced of the young guys who aren't experienced.
Yeah, exactly.
Even this season, I think Jake's kind of learned a few things about his game and start to look after the ball a little bit more, and it's led to some criticisms of their offense at times, but they are still alive. Ford misses high on this one, and that'll be a turnover, fourth of the game for Edmonton.
So we have, the three powerhouse teams, BC, Winnipeg, Toronto, in the playoffs. Those are the tops. Then we have the two you can make an argument for upsetting someone in Montreal, Hamilton. And now Saskatchewan and Calgary fight for that spot on who could be the Cinderella story. Who's going to back into the playoffs between these two teams, those two teams. And everybody starting the playoffs in the semifinal, wherever it is, because we don't know yet, in the West, is going to say, they backed in, they don't deserve to be here, whatever. You know what? In this league, we have seen the run by that 9-9 team or team with 8-10.
Stranger things that happen.
And they finish and they get on a roll in the playoffs and they upset the big dogs. So it's setting up nicely, and a season where over 65% of the games were decided in the final 3 minutes. Final 3 minutes in Canadian football, I've said all year, is just as good as it gets in pro sports anywhere in the world, any sport. So if we get even a little bit of that in the playoffs, strap in, settle in.
We'll get some of that in the playoffs. I can guarantee you we will have some thrillers in the CFL postseason. Another game coming up after us here today. Evans into the game. And Carey.
Well,
he
might need a couple ice bags, but Cody Fajardo made it through.
He's okay. He's all right. Now, what do you do with him against Hamilton? Right?
Yeah, come on. Don't.
Well, I mean, there'll be some decisions to be made there. You know what's going to be happening. They wrap up the season against the team that they're going to be facing in the East Final.
I'm okay with the work week being exactly the same and starting the starters. 1 or 2 series, play the other guys just in case you need them in the playoff game. It's just me.
We know what's going on with Montreal. They get Hamilton, then they get Hamilton again. Final thoughts on Edmonton's home portion of their schedule.
Yeah, it was really the type of game that Edmonton sort of symbolized their entire season, but they have a tremendous player in Trey Ford to build around. Future is bright for next year for Edmonton. They'll finish with one more game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Winnipeg.
On the road to face the Bombers next week. Edmonton had a 21-3 lead. Montreal scores the final 32 points of this football game to pick up a 35-21 win on the road here at Commonwealth. That'll do it for us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Let's send it back to the panel.
Thank you very much, Dustin. And guys, you heard it, 32 straight points to finish this game. And we talked about it when we were watching the first half. It looked at times like Montreal was sleepwalking. They didn't want to necessarily be here. make everybody stay healthy, but they really wound up building some momentum going into these final couple of weeks.
Which they had to. You know, they have a bye, and then that last game they play Hamilton, and there's probably a good chance we won't see a lot of those guys. We may not see Cody Fajardo. We might see a couple other starters because they want to give him some rest. So it was good. He played the entire game, didn't get hurt. Other guys contribute, and they got some momentum because, as you said, Coach Barker, they're not a team where you can just turn the switch on and off. They want to be able to keep it on, so they came out after putting themselves in a hole and really put it on these Elks. So good for them as they continue their way to the playoffs.
Really surprised that Cody Fajardo played the entire football game, and they're running quarterback design runs for him towards the end of it too. It's like, my goodness, boy, they left nothing in the tank. This football team was getting it taken to him early, and Trey Ford was going off on him. And then it's like the problem with the Edmonton Elks all season long is not being able to finish and compete. And when Montreal pushed back, it was game over. And they just got some momentum that Edmonton couldn't seize back in front of their home crowd, looking for their third straight at home. But, yeah, I credit for Montreal for coming and taking care of business and finding a little bit of momentum. I don't know how much you can take away from beating the Elks at home, but that was a heck of an effort. They dug down deep to get that one and did it handily.
Yeah, well, that defense, Noel Thorpe and that defense, they last week they gave up 3 to Ottawa. This week they started slow, like we said, for a quarter and a half, but then shut him out. Shut out Trey Ford for 2.5.
A little bit.
So again, it's a great way for them to win. Bye this week, and then what do you decide what you're going to do in that last week before you go into that finals?
Matt, you talked about the hits he took and the way the plays were designed late in that game, but Cody Fajardo still standing, still ticking. He's standing by with Ryan Rashad.
Well, Cody, a real change in that first half where you guys were down quite a little bit and then seemed you got a little bit aggressive. Jason Moss went for it on a 3rd down, gave you a shot at it, and it seemed to turn there.
Absolutely, yeah. I thought we came out a little flat today, and the guys answered the call. You know, I believe we were down 21-3 at one point, and the guys didn't hit the panic button. We knew we needed to bring some energy, and a big conversion on 3rd down, and then our defense scores, and then we get a missed field goal touchdown by Lech, and so we used that momentum. Not our best game or my best game, but we found a way to win. And the good news here is we're a 10-win football team. And at the beginning of the year, everybody had us to be 9th or 8th in the league. And so to sit here at 10 wins, it's pretty spectacular what we've done here.
Yeah, seems like, I don't want to say chip on your shoulder, but you really wanted to prove that. That 10-win mark was big for you.
Without a doubt. And we talked about that earlier in the week. And I knew if we got to double-digit wins, we had a chance to host a playoff game. And that was the goal once we weren't able to capture the East final. So now we got a bye week where we can get healthy. We have one last game and then get ready for that back-to-back with Hamilton.
Gotta ask, was the plan for you to go wire to wire today, or did it change midway through when things weren't going well?
I told Coach I want to play the whole game. You know, with a bye week coming up as well, I want to try and stay in rhythm and try to continue to get better and help our team out.
He let you. Being a former quarterback, he knows when to say yes.
Absolutely. He knows the competitor in me. We're both competitors, but I got all the respect for Coach Moss, and I'm just very thankful for him bringing me over here, and we got a really good football team.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you very much.
A pretty motivated Cody Fajardo as his team does get that 10th win. Clearly, that was a measuring stick for them, given what their expectations were or weren't coming into the season. As a result, Montreal, they've clinched 2nd place in the CFL's Eastern Division after Hamilton loses last night. Montreal follows that up, and they're going to host the Eastern semifinal. Coming up next, the Toronto Argos look to finish 9-0 at home this season. Chad Kelly will, in fact, get the start. The East Division champions playing their final game at BMO.